moved into a small apartment complex with a friend of mine. We've been living there for a couple months now. Unfortunately, because of work, I haven't spent a lot of time around the apartment and haven't had much to observe. But apparently, earlier in the week, our neighbor disappeared, with all of her belongings still in the room and her car parked outside. For some reason, this wasn't a bother to me, mostly because I was still concerned about unpacking. Even though it had been a couple months, most of my stuff was still in boxes. Although I had my desk and my bed set up perfectly where I wanted them, up against the window. Now, some weekends, I had the entire apartment to myself. My friend would have to go out of town for work. On cool summer nights, it was natural for me to sleep with the windows open. There was nothing like a cool breeze to calm my nerves. As I started to settle in my bed, I reached over to my pants to pull out my pocket knife and laid it on my nightstand. It wasn't before long before I started to nod off. Then I awoke to hear the freight train passing in the distance. The sound of it never bothered me before, but there was something about the way it was entering my room, as if something was blocking my window. I opened my eyes and slowly began to move my head so I could see the window. And when my eyes finally aligned with the window, it was met with something I didn't expect to be there. It was a human figure staring at me through the window. I rolled over as fast as I could to grab my knife, but by the time I rolled back, it was gone. Then it dawned on me I never checked the front door this night to see if it was locked. I rolled out of bed as fast as I could with my knife in hand, flew out of my room into the living room where I could see the front door was cracked open. I started to panic as I looked around the dark room, trying to find anything that was going to lash out at me. Just then, I heard this agonizing scream coming from my neighbor's way. As the screams continued, I ran to her door and tried to break it down, but there was something holding it shut. I ran back to my room as fast as I could, grabbed the phone, and called 911. To which, after I explained what happened to the cops, I realized it was dead quiet. The cops took no hesitation getting here, and when they finally managed to break down the door, they told me the horrifying news. She was murdered. And by the looks of it, she was held there all week, ever since she disappeared. It slowly dawned on me that the figure in my window could have been her killer. And if it wasn't for me waking up, I could have been next. They never found her killer. To this day, he still could be out there, watching people through their windows. I didn't stay in that apartment for too long. I moved away shortly after the events. My anxiety gets the best of me every night. I always make sure all the windows are shut and locked, even though I live on the 3rd floor.